My brother, who rose to fame at a young age, had both his hands crippled. He could no longer take the imperial examinations. Every business venture he undertook failed. He lost everything, bankrupting our entire family. Out of desperation, my brother married a wife of hideous appearance. Yet all of this was orchestrated by my sister-in-law. The tragedy that befell our entire family stemmed from her mad, obsessive love for my brother. Fortunately, I was reborn. Sister-in-law, let go. I struggled desperately, arms raised, but my strength waned by the second. The one choking me was none other than my own sister-in-law. Her eyes were small and triangular, her eyebrows thin and almost invisible. Her nose was bulbous, her lips protruding, her teeth stained yellow. My hideously ugly sister-in-law choked me with vicious intensity. Her face contorted into a grotesque grimace from the force, making her look like a vengeful specter risen from hell. You worthless bitch. Don't think I didn't see it. He hugged you. Didn't he? He hugged you yesterday. I raised my hand and slashed her face with my nails. Ignoring the pain, she kept her grip tight, her eyes wild and vicious. You deserve to die. Once you're dead, Yanlang will love only me. Everyone who competes with me for Yanlang deserves to die. The old woman is dead. Once I kill you too, Yanlang will have only me. Why won't you just die already? I struggled a few times in resignation, but my arms finally went limp. Mother had just passed. To observe mourning, I hadn't eaten or drunk anything for 3 days. I simply had no strength left. My brother and I were twins, born 7 years apart. When we were 7, our father was killed by bandits while traveling on business. Our mother raised us alone, holding on to the family estate. After my marriage, my in-laws kept me under strict control, forbidding me from returning home even once a year. I didn't even know Mother had fallen gravely ill. This trip home was solely for the funeral arrangements. During the night vigil, my brother and I reminisced about the hardships Mother endured throughout her life. Overwhelmed, we embraced and wept bitterly. Little did I know that very weeping would cost me my life. The suffocating sensation returned. I jolted upright, gasping for air, only to see a figure sitting on the bedside, doubled over with laughter. Goodness! I'm dying of laughter. Look at you. Ching. You silly thing, you look just like a drowned ghost. Ha ha ha. The youth before me had a face like carved jade, his brows and eyes clear and bright. His laughter revealed 8 perfectly aligned, pearly white teeth, and 2 faint dimples on the sides of his cheeks. I stared blankly at my brother, trembling as I raised my hand to touch his face. His skin was warm and smooth, like the finest silk. I pinched it hard. My brother immediately grimaced and cried out in pain. Ouch! I didn't mean to pinch your nose. I called you so many times but couldn't wake you. You were sleeping like a pig. My brother gently brushed my hand away. Like showing off a treasure, he pulled a paper package from behind his back. Look! I bought these especially for you after school, Lee's Bakery's mung bean cakes and milfy pastries. This was Song Yan at 15. The city's most dazzling beauty. Always laughing and chatting. Radiant as the midday sun. Ever since my brother's hands were crippled and he could no longer write, I hadn't seen him smile for a full 10 years. I was reborn. Reborn into this year. Before the tragedy began, my brother felt guilty seeing me so distraught. He never imagined waking me from my afternoon nap would lead to such consequences. I clung to him, weeping for what felt like an eternity. When I finally managed to hold back my tears, the sight of my mother made me sob even harder. My brother and mother were both overwhelmed by my crying. Ah, Ching. Please stop crying. In 2 days, I'll take the exams. When I return, I'll bring you a scholar's degree. As if someone had suddenly clamped my throat shut, my sobs stopped abruptly. The exams? My brother gently stroked my head. Ah, Ching. Don't worry. Brother will study hard. One day, I'll earn an imperial decree for both you and mother. As he spoke of earning that decree, my brother clenched his fist. His eyes shone brightly, his face radiating confidence and longing for the future. I sprang to my feet. In my past life, before the exams, my brother accompanied his friend to burn incense at the Temple of the Literary Star. On their way home after offering incense, they encountered a gang of thugs. The thugs broke my brother's fingers, robbing him forever of the ability to hold a brush. I frantically shook my brother's shoulders. Brother, are you going to Wenkuxing Temple tomorrow? He smiled and nodded. Your brother Wenyan never studied diligently, but he sure is eager to visit temples. I'll just treat it as a spring outing. The scenery around Wenkuxing Temple is quite lovely. After my brother's accident in my previous life, his friend Shang Wenyan cut off all contact with our family. Later, I heard the Zhang family struck it rich in overseas trade. They moved their entire household to the provincial capital. Thinking of my sister-in-law, Pa. Thinking of Jiang Wanru's madness, how she strangled me to death. A wild suspicion flashed through my mind. Could my brother's crippled hands be connected to Jiang Wanru? After all, she gone mad enough to kill me and my mother just to possess my brother. Jiang Wanru was the daughter of Nanjing's wealthiest family. Her maternal clan dealt in maritime trade. Rumor had it their floors were paved with gold bricks and night pearls lit their halls. But Jiang Wanru was truly hideous. And despite her family's staggering wealth, no respectable family would consider her for marriage. The city's ruffians and rogues constantly made fun of her. They joked that if they ever hit rock bottom, they'd go to the Jiang family as a son-in-law. Any family in South City with even a shred of dignity refused to let their son marry such an ugly woman. After my brother lost the use of his hands in my previous life, he sank into despair for a long time. Later, he gradually came to terms with it, saying that even without studying, he could still support me and our mother by doing business. But my brother simply wasn't cut out for commerce. No matter how hard he tried, he lost money in every venture. Eventually, a customer died at our family restaurant, and we lost everything in compensation. Then, my mother suddenly fell gravely ill. The doctor said she needed ginseng every day to recover. In our despair, the Jiang family came to propose marriage. My brother was reluctant. He dragged his injured hands to work as a laborer, earning money by any means necessary. Every day he returned home, his shoulders raw and bleeding from the weight of heavy loads. When he bathed, the blood mixed with sweat, sticking to his clothes and often tearing the skin. Later, when I went to the docks to bring my brother lunch, I encountered Jiang Wanru. Somehow, someone shoved me from the side, and I ended up pulling Jiang Wanru into the water with me. Jiang Wanru fought to push me ashore, but she plunged straight to the bottom. In the end, my brother was the one who saved her. The dock was bustling with people. Jiang Wanru, disheveled and half-clothed, was held in my brother's arms, her honor lost. Master Jiang himself arrived at our doorstep with a matchmaker. This time, my brother did not refuse, for I had fallen into the winter waters, damaging my health. The physician warned that without proper recuperation, I might never bear children. The night before the wedding, my brother sat alone in the courtyard until dawn. After marriage, he treated Jiang Wanru with utmost care and consideration. Yet, not once did his eyes hold a flicker of affection. Nor did his face ever again show a smile. Thinking of my brother's life, spent these past decades like a walking corpse, I couldn't help but clench my fists. This lifetime, I will never let that tragedy repeat itself. Returning to my room, I gathered all my personal savings, ignoring my mother and brother's cries. I rushed out the door. I must hire you, the finest escort masters. In the end, I was chased out. After father passed, little wealth remained in our household, and my brother's studies consumed considerable funds. Truthfully, I held but a meager sum of silver. Clearly, 3 taels wouldn't suffice to hire a single escort for a year. Dejected, I sat before the escort agency's door. My brother had caught Jiang Wanru's attention. Tomorrow, when he went to Wenkuxing Temple, trouble was certain to follow. Even if he skipped the temple, trouble could strike on his way to the imperial exams. The Jiang family had deep pockets, they could hire countless thugs and ruffians. Even if I could shadow my brother day and night, I couldn't even protect myself. How could I protect him? The late autumn sun beat down, yet offered no warmth. I sat frozen on the threshold, consumed by anxiety and despair. Hey, looking for a bodyguard? What do you think of me? I wiped my tears and lifted my head, my eyes suddenly brightening. Lu Yuan. It was Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan was also a legendary figure in our southern city. He started as a young beggar, becoming the leader of the city's beggars by the age of 12. He even crowned himself the leader of the Beggars Guild. At 17, Lu Yuan led his band of young beggars to enlist in the army. The next time I saw him, he had become a renowned young general. If my calculations were correct, Lu Yuan was only 13 this year? The light in my eyes instantly dimmed. No matter how formidable Lu Yuan was, he was still just a 13-year-old boy. Could he possibly stand up to the wealthy and powerful Jiang family? How much silver do you have? Lu Yuan paid no heed to my disappointment. He regarded me with keen interest. His jet-black pupils refracted golden light in the sun. Dejected, I fished out the scattered silver coins from my purse. Only 3 taels in total. But I want to hire you for a year, if that's impossible. Then half a year, or even 3 months would do. Lu Yuan snatched the coins, biting one between his teeth. Fine. 1 year. But give me 10 steamed buns daily. I'll protect you even if the king of hell comes for you. I returned home, my heart heavy with anxiety. Besides Lu Yuan, I couldn't find a cheaper escort. My mother and brother breathed sighs of relief when I came back. Brother, can you stay home tomorrow? The exam is the day after tomorrow. Why not stay home and study? My brother pinched my cheek. No way. I promised Wen Yan I'd go burn incense tomorrow morning. And I'm meeting some classmates for dinner tonight. I've already studied enough during the week. I need to relax now to do well on the exam. I sighed. Yeah. My brother was a living, breathing person. I couldn't just lock him up in his room all day. Early the next morning, I was fully armed and waiting outside his door. Brother, I'm coming with you. Zhang Wenyan couldn't help but laugh when he saw me dressed as a boy. Oh my. Whose handsome young gentleman is this? I had no heart for small talk. My nerves on edge the entire journey. The sweat on my back dried and re-wet. Re-dried and re-wet. Who are you? What do you want? The coachman's terrified voice came from the front as the 3 of us were forced off the carriage. Oh, so this is the famed South City's most handsome man? A greasy, lecherous voice rang out from ahead. I stared at the 7 or 8 thugs surrounding us. My heart began pounding wildly. What do you want? My brother frowned, shielding me behind him. Zhang Wenyan, meanwhile, discreetly took 2 steps back. The burly leader was Zhang San, a notorious local thug. Zhang San eyed my brother suspiciously, then turned to me. 2 Song Yans? My brother and I are fraternal twins, sharing about 70% resemblance. He's taller, with more ruggedly handsome features. Today, I deliberately changed into men's clothes and stuffed thick pads into my shoes. To the untrained eye, we're nearly indistinguishable at first glance. Brother San. The other one must be Song Yan's sister. A slender, long-faced man beside him leaned in to say, Zhang San's eyes lit up instantly. Oh my! I've long heard Song Yan is our southern city's most handsome man. And his sister is our southern city's most beautiful woman. Perfect! Buy one. Get one free. My heart sank. I nervously grabbed my brother's arm. Why aren't Lu Yuan and the others here yet? Let's move. Remember to take that Song Yan sister with us. We'll have some fun. My brother's eyes turned red at this. He bellowed. You dare! Oh my silly brother. They've come right to our doorstep, what's there to dare or not dare? Just as Zhang San reached for me, I flung the chili powder I'd prepared earlier right at him. A choking stench quickly filled the air. I clutched the pouch, leaping about, attacking everyone indiscriminately except my brother. Achoo! Achoo! Frenzied sneezes erupted continuously through the crowd. Amid the chaos, I grabbed my brother's hand and bolted down the mountain. Barely a few steps in, we collided with a group of masked children. The oldest looked about my age. The youngest looked about 6 or 7. The leader yanked off his face covering, it was Lu Yuan. Holy crap! What's that awful smell? I rushed up to Lu Yuan, tiptoed, and leaned close to his ear. That kid Lu Yuan must have eaten something special. 2 years younger than me, yet already taller. Find a way to keep them bedridden for a month. They're blinded by the pepper now, they won't even know who beat them. Lu Yuan turned and ran off. His face flushed. Seems this pepper powder really packs a punch. To buy this stuff, I pawned my favorite hairpin. I pulled my brother toward the mountain's base as shrieks from Zhang San's gang echoed down the slope. Damn it! Which bastard hit me? By the time we reached home, my brother's face was still pale. He pulled me inside and shut the door tightly. Ah Ching, tell me the truth. How did you know Zhang San would come looking for trouble today? I bit my lip and tentatively asked. Brother, have you ever heard of reincarnation? Ah Ching, be careful what you say. My brother's expression darkened, his handsome brows knitting together. A gentleman does not speak of supernatural phenomena. That concubine's daughter of Magistrate Wang was always spouting nonsense about time travel and coming from the future. Before long, she threw herself down a well and died. I lowered my eyes. The current emperor detests tales of spirits and ghosts. If word of my rebirth were to spread, not only would my own life be in danger, but my family would suffer too. Lu Yuan was the one who told me this. Lu Yuan asked me for 3 taels of silver, saying his young beggar underling overheard Zhang San and his crew talking. They planned to ambush you today, break both your hands, and ensure you could never take the imperial examinations again. Zhang San mentioned it was apparently ordered by some important person who paid him a huge sum of silver. After speaking, I immediately regretted it. The color drained from my brother's face in an instant. Even his lips turned pale. If I told my brother, I feared it would distract him from his studies. Yet if I didn't tell him, I dreaded he'd fall into their trap completely unprepared. It's all my fault, even after living this life anew. I still don't know how to protect my family. Frustration and anger welled up, and tears spilled from my eyes. Jiang Wanru and my brother met at the Qixi Lantern Festival. I had accompanied my brother to see the lanterns when we encountered Jiang Wanru being mocked and ridiculed. She had secretly taken her maid out for a stroll when someone accidentally pulled off her veil. A group of children surrounded her, shouting demon and monster. Jiang Wanru's eyes were bloodshot from crying, her face streaked with snot and tears, making her look even more terrifying. My brother couldn't bear to watch and disperse the children surrounding her. Jiang Wanru's lantern had been trampled, so my brother gave her his own. Both my brother and I thought it was just a chance encounter under the moonlight. Little did we know it would become Jiang Wanru's lifelong obsession. From that moment, she became deeply infatuated with my brother, her heart thrown into turmoil, consumed by obsession. Ah Ching, don't be afraid. I'm here for you. I clung tightly to my brother. The young boy's body still trembled slightly with fear. Yet he strove to shoulder all danger and responsibility. After much hesitation, I still didn't reveal the truth about Jiang Wanru. The Jiang family was immensely wealthy, and Jiang Wanru was cunning and calculating. My brother was only 15 after all. If we acted impulsively and alerted them, it could backfire disastrously. The next day, my brother was to take the imperial examinations. I meticulously checked his belongings several times over. Only then did I nervously accompany him out the door. Lu Yuan led a group of young beggars, keeping a watchful yet discreet distance behind us. True to form, trouble followed us every step of the way. Some vendors deliberately bumped into us with their goods. Others threw water down from upper floors. A horse even bolted, charging straight toward us. Had Lu Yuan not grabbed my brother and rolled him aside, my brother would likely have ended up crippled. By the time my brother arrived unscathed at the exam hall entrance, the group of young beggars were all injured. I looked at Lu Yuan, soaked through and with half his face swollen. I was so grateful I didn't know what to do. I had only given him 3 taels of silver, yet he risked his life protecting us. After my brother entered the exam hall, I pulled out a handkerchief to wipe Lu Yuan's face. He flushed and took a step back, then flashed a carefree grin. Well, wasn't that silver well spent on your little master? I wiped away tears with a smile. Not at all. You truly are the finest escort in South City. Lu Yuan scratched his head, grinning sheepishly. His usually defiant face showed a hint of childishness. This one is Miss Song Qing? The familiar hoarse voice sent a shiver through my body. The woman wore a veil, her form gaunt and emaciated, thin as a human skeleton. Who else could it be but Jiang Wanru? Noticing my unease, Lu Yuan stepped forward, shielding me behind him. Who are you? Jiang Wanru paused. Sister Qing, don't you remember me? How could I forget? Hatred is etched into my bones, never to be forgotten. Seeing my silence, Jiang Wanru stepped closer. Last Qixi Lantern Festival, I was indebted to your elder brother's assistance. Has Sister Qing brought brother here for the exams? I snapped my head up, fixing Jiang Wanru with a piercing stare. My brother took the preliminary exams at 14, placing first in both the provincial and prefectural trials. Everyone called him Song the top scholar. A brilliant young man, blessed with the looks of Pan himself. All said my brother's future was limitless. Once he became the top scholar, noble ladies would surely fight over him. He should have been a radiant moon, heaven's chosen sun. Yet Jiang Wanru clipped his wings, plucked his feathers, and cast him into the mud, condemned to a life without light. How coincidental. Does Miss Jiang also have a brother taking the exams? The Jiang family is fabulously wealthy, yet their sons show little promise. Jiang Wanru has a younger brother, a bloated, gluttonous, and depraved man. Naturally, he understood nothing of scholarship. A man my brother's age who hasn't even grasped the intellects. Hearing this, Jiang Wanru looked somewhat embarrassed. Her maid handed me a calling card. Thank you for your help last time, Sister Song Qing. In a few days, our household will host a chrysanthemum viewing banquet. Sister Song must attend. I nodded and accepted the card, then tore it up the moment Jiang Wanru turned away. So that was the infamous Jiang Wuyan? Lu Yuan's eyes flickered. Do you have a grudge against her? Instead of answering, I tugged at his sleeve earnestly. Lu Yuan, can you teach me how to fight? Only by dragging our family through the mud can Jiang Wanru reach my brother's level. The more outstanding brother becomes, the more hopeless her aspirations grow. So after this exam, when brother becomes a scholar, Jiang Wanyu will surely become even more frenzied. We can't rely solely on Lu Yuan, we must find ways to protect ourselves. Lu Yuan eyed my slender arms with disdain. With arms this thin, you couldn't even beat a child. You want to fight? Tough on the outside but soft at heart. Lu Yuan relented after I nagged him relentlessly. Back home, I wolfed down 2 bowls of rice, startling my mother. Graceful and delicate, like a willow swaying in the breeze, beautiful. Yes, but utterly useless. Just like how I was strangled to death by Jiang Wanru in my past life. In my previous life, when I accompanied Jiang Wanru to visit her cousin's home, she got me drunk. When I woke up, somehow I'd ended up in her cousin's room. Under Jiang Wanru's arrangement, I married her cousin, Yang Qinyao. Though Yang Qinyao came from a decent family, he was plain-looking and short. After our marriage, he kept a tight leash on me, practically locking me in the garden. His mother disliked my alluring looks, confining me daily to the Buddhist hall to copy sutras. Later, she arranged for him to take several beautiful concubines. Yang Qinyao found me dull and distant, rarely seeking me out anymore. My brother was trapped in his own hell. And I? Had I not been caged for over a decade? Early the next morning, I rose and ran laps around the courtyard. Lu Yuan said that to fight, you must have a strong body. At the very least, you need to run fast, be strong, and have quick reflexes. He even had someone buy me a wooden dummy for home, telling me to practice striking it daily. After just a few days of training, my brother's exams ended. To protect him, I secretly sold all my jewelry, even a few pieces belonging to my mother. When I went to pick him up, I specifically hired 2 identical carriages from the carriage house. My brother emerged from the exam hall looking gaunt, yet his eyes shone like stars. After helping him into the carriage, I turned and climbed into the other one. Today, I deliberately dressed exactly like my brother. And sure enough, Jiang Wanru's people mistook me for him. The carriages soon sped off, the horses bolting wildly down the street. Brother was pinned down inside his carriage by Lu Yuan's men, forced to watch helplessly as my carriage sped away. As I was flung from my carriage, I locked eyes with Jiang Wanru's horrified gaze. She stood frozen in the middle of the road like a wooden stump, seemingly too terrified to move. Truly mad, using her own body to stage an accident. Lu Yuan somehow managed to halt the runaway horses. Amidst the crowd's gasps, I collided head-on with Jiang Wanru. As we tumbled together in a heap, her maid rushed forward, wailing, Miss, are you all right? Young master song. Thank you for saving her life. Wah. Jiang Wanru stood up, her face flushed. Before she could speak, I pulled off my headscarf, my dark hair cascading like a waterfall. Miss Jiang, no need for formalities. But I'm Song Qing, not Song Yan, you've mistaken me. The onlookers immediately erupted in commotion. Oh my! We thought it was a hero rescuing a beauty. But it turns out a beauty saved an ugly girl. Usually, Jiang Wuyan just seemed plain. But compared to the Song family's daughter? Good heavens! She looked like a she-devil. One was a bodhisattva, the other a demon. When the goddess Nuwa molded Jiang Wuyan, she must have been squinting. The Jiang family was rich yet ruthless, bullying the villagers. Many despised them. So whenever Jiang Wanru appeared, people spoke especially harshly. After all, the law doesn't punish the masses. Speaking their minds in a crowd to vent frustration was something the Jiang family couldn't stop. And to stage the accident, Jiang Wanru deliberately removed her veil. Surrounded by onlookers, Jiang Wanru cried as she ran away from the crowd. I smirked and stood up straight. That fall must have left her arm bruised and battered. The thought made me feel gleeful again. Thankfully, it wasn't my brother who got hurt. It wouldn't affect his studies or writing. My brother jumped off the cart, terrified, and dragged me home by my ear. Song Qing, Kneel. He hauled me all the way to father's memorial altar and even shooed away mother, who'd come upon hearing the news. I tried to protest defiantly, but as I lifted my face, I saw my brother's tears streaming down his cheeks. His eyes reddened. His voice choked. He opened his mouth several times before managing to speak. Song Ching, do you remember what I said before Father's spirit tablet that day? I said I would take care of you and Mother. That I would make sure you both lived well. You're just a little girl. How could you dare ride that carriage so fast? You. My brother couldn't continue. Covering his face, he crouched down, weeping quietly and stoically. Hearing his suppressed sobs, my heart ached, and tears streamed down my face. Brother, Jiang Wanru has set her sights on you. She wants to marry you. So she keeps plotting schemes to harm you. Knowing you despise her, she'll find ways to bar you from the imperial exams, leaving our family with nowhere to turn. My brother's tears pierced my heart. I wanted to protect him, yet never considered he didn't truly want my sacrifice or shielding. I should have trusted my brother, believed we could weather this storm together. He didn't ask how I knew all this. Wiping his tears, he rose to his feet. His eyes burned with overwhelming hatred and disgust. Ah Ching, in our past life, you suffered terribly, didn't you? I stared at my brother in shock. He gave a bitter laugh. Lu Yuan said you sought him out yourself, asking them to protect me. That afternoon when I awoke, you were like a different person, no trace of your former docility and gentleness. This is my fault. I didn't believe you from the start. The rebirth is too bizarre. You must never tell a soul besides me. I recounted the details of my past life to my brother. When he heard that both Mother and I had been killed by Jiang Wanru, he clenched his eyes shut. Moments later, when he opened them again, his gaze was clear and resolute. My brother began studying with a frenzied intensity, and I threw myself into training my body with equal ferocity. Each morning after rising, he would spend half the day striking my wooden dummy in the courtyard. Only after working up a sweat would he turn to reading and writing. Seeing the rice jar rapidly emptying, Mother grew deeply anxious, pushing back her embroidery time by a full hour each day. Naturally, I did not attend Jiang Wanru's banquet. I tore up every invitation she sent. Early one morning, Jiang Wanru herself arrived with attendants, blocking our gate. Sister Song Qing, why did you not attend the banquet yesterday? Do you find me as hideous as the others? Unwilling to be my friend? Jiang Wanru bit her lip. Eyes reddened, feigning a pitiful demeanor. I nodded expressionlessly. Yes. You're too ugly. Just looking at you hurts my eyes. Jiang Wanru clutched her chest, staring at me in disbelief. Last month on Qixi Festival, when we met, I'd found her truly pitiable and had even comforted her softly. She glanced behind me. Then her frail frame swayed several times, teetering on the verge of collapse. Qing's sister, I truly wanted to be your friend. Your words, they pierce my heart. Ah, Qing, who's here? A clear, gentle voice sounded from behind me. Seeing my brother arrive, Jiang Wanru covered her eyes with a handkerchief and began wiping tears. Qing's sister, if you find my ugly face offensive to your eyes, then I'll stay far away from you from now on. Here, this is the gift I prepared for you yesterday. Regardless, thank you for your help on the 7th night. The maid thrust a box into my hands. Jiang Wanru shot me a sorrowful glance before running off in tears. She hadn't gone far when a large group of people blocked her in the narrow alley. Good news! Good news! Congratulations to Song, the top scholar, for winning first place. The sound of gongs grew louder as the town officials bearing the news approached, red silk ribbons tied around their waists. All the neighbors in the alley rushed out upon hearing the commotion. What good news! Which song is the top scholar? What does top scholar even mean? Oh, Auntie Lee. You silly thing. The top scholar is the first place scholar in the imperial exams. It must be our very own Song Yen from the street. Good heavens. A 15-year-old scholar. And the top one at that. Oh my goodness. Mrs. Song. I have a niece who's quite the beauty. And our family owns quite a bit of land. Her age would be perfect for Song Yen. Neighbors swarmed into our home like a swarm of bees, nearly bursting the courtyard gate. The constable who brought the good news was stuffed to the gills with steamed buns, eggs, and mantou by the enthusiastic villagers. He staggered away, dazed, amidst our family's beaming smiles. Jiang Wanru had slipped into the courtyard unnoticed. She stared blankly at her brother, who was bowing and thanking the crowd, her gaze never wavering. After the flushed neighbors finally departed, Jiang Wanru remained standing in the courtyard. Her brother approached her and bowed politely. "Young lady, have you come to the wrong house? Who are you looking for?" Even from several paces away, I heard the sound of Jiang Wanru's heart shatter. Her face drained of color as she looked up at my brother. "Yen Lang. You. Don't you recognize me?" "Pfft. What nerve!" I rolled my eyes. We'd only met once, and she was already calling him Brother Yen Lang. Anyone watching would think he was her husband. My brother's face darkened as he shot me a displeased glare. "Ah Ching. Is this girl your friend? Be careful who you call friends. They'll only bring you trouble. Learn to be more discerning." With that, he turned away without another glance at Jiang Wanru and went back inside. Jiang Wanru wandered off, utterly distraught. By the time she reached the courtyard gate, she stumbled and fell, lying motionless on the ground for a long while. I stepped forward and shot her a disdainful glance. "I don't like befriending ugly creatures. Don't ever come to my house again." With that, I slammed the door shut. Back in the room, my brother frowned. "Do you think this will work? Will Jiang Wanru back off? The Jiang family is powerful. Our family has nothing but this old courtyard. We get by on my mother and I embroidering, and my brother occasionally copying books for others." My brother said revenge can wait, for now. Protecting ourselves comes first. I hope this incident makes Jiang Wanru reconsider her feelings for my brother. After the exams, the magistrate's family hosted a banquet. All those who passed were invited, bringing their families. My brother and I attended as well, only to encounter Jiang Wanru at the banquet. She clung to the magistrate's wife, sweetly addressing her as godmother. I stole a few glances at the pearl-studded headpiece adorning the magistrate's wife's hair. The magistrate's family was impoverished. He'd sold fields to afford his education. His wife was married during his humble days, rumored to be the village chief's daughter. That pearl headdress must have cost at least several hundred taels of silver. Judging by the look of it, Jiang Wanru hadn't spent that money in vain to secure this connection. "Oh my! You must be the sister of Song Ansho. Truly as beautiful as a flower." The magistrate's wife took my hand and showered me with compliments. Before long, she steered the conversation toward my marriage prospects. Between the lines, she seemed eager to play matchmaker for me. I sneered inwardly. Jiang Wanru knew how close my brother and I were. By manipulating me, she could naturally control my brother too. In my past life, she constantly caused me trouble, yet pretended to be kind by solving my problems, all to earn my brother's undying gratitude. It seemed she intended to repeat the same trick this time. "Madam, I am already betrothed," I replied. The magistrate's wife looked deeply disappointed, but she couldn't press the matter further. After the meal, she suggested taking us for a stroll by the lake. Jiang Wanru put on an act of gentle kindness. Alarm bells rang loudly in my mind. Sure enough, as soon as we reached the lakeside, a maid accompanying Jiang Wanru extended her leg toward me. I pretended to stumble over her, but my foot delivered a hard kick to the maid's calf. Losing my balance, I frantically reached out to grab hold. In one swift motion, I pulled 3 or 4 girls down with me, Jiang Wanru among them. Splash! Splash! The loud thuds of bodies hitting the water echoed. At that moment, the county magistrate was approaching the lakeside with a group of scholars. Just before the fall, I caught sight of a familiar figure sprinting toward the shore. Ordinary-looking, short in stature. It was Yang Qinyao, my husband from my previous life and Jiang Wanru's cousin. Most children raised in Jiangnan knew how to swim. Yang Qinyao clearly hadn't expected so many girls to fall in. He plunged into the water, half his body surfacing, looking somewhat bewildered. Several girls who couldn't swim were struggling desperately, splashing water everywhere, their faces obscured. He gritted his teeth and swam toward us. Just as he reached me, I landed a punch squarely on his nose. I pretended to be a poor swimmer, kicking and punching Yang Qinyao. Help! Save me! Just as the fight was heating up, several more figures plunged into the water. Lu Yuan wiped the water from his face and surfaced. Seeing my sly wink, he understood immediately. I handed Yang Qinyao over to him and pretended to struggle toward Jiang Wanru's direction, landing a hard punch on Jiang Wanru's stomach. I repeated the same trick. In the end, Lu Yuan had to drag me ashore by force. Yang Qinyao and Jiang Wanru were both pulled out by their household servants. Both had swallowed a bellyful of water and were already unconscious. The moment I reached shore, I grabbed Jiang Wanru's maid and wailed. Why did you trip me into the water? What did I ever do to you? Tripping me was bad enough, but dragging so many others down with me? What on earth were you thinking? The scene descended into chaos. Lu Yuan stood behind my brother, his scholar's robe dripping wet. He couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at me. All these fighting techniques were taught to me by Lu Yuan. He said since I lacked strength, I had to fight with cunning. Pin the armpits, kick the groin, strike the nose, jab the throat. He taught me every trick the little beggars used in their fights, and I just unleashed them all on Jiang Wanru and her group. My brother wore a face of bitter indignation. Your Honor, I implore you to investigate. Find out who was trying to harm my sister. Jiang Wanru's maid had been kicked hard by me, her calf now red and swollen. She kept wailing that she had accidentally tripped over me. The expressions of those present varied wildly. Maids from wealthy households undergo rigorous training in every movement, walking, sitting, lying down. Moreover, judging by the location of that maid's swelling, she must have lifted her leg exceptionally high. Such a kick couldn't have landed there during ordinary walking. Each person harbored their own thoughts. And for a moment, the atmosphere grew eerily tense. Just then, Jiang Wanru stirred and slowly regained consciousness. She blinked a few times, looking at me with a hurt expression. Miss Song Qing, why did you push me into the water? The air grew even quieter. My brother flung his sleeves in anger. I wonder when the Song family ever offended Miss Jiang. Since this is the case, we shall henceforth keep our distance from the Jiang household, lest the victim be slandered as the perpetrator. My brother supported me, apologized to the county magistrate, and then walked away without looking back. The crowd was left whispering among themselves, probably jealous of the Song family girl's beauty. TSK. Who knew Jiang Wanru harbored such intense jealousy? First she had her maid push someone into the water. Then she falsely accused them of pushing her. TSK, 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 ugly face. Uglier heart. Jiang Wanru burst into tears. Her useless cousin was still unconscious, leaving her with no one to speak for her. Even the magistrate's wife averted her gaze, stepping back with obvious disgust. My brother gripped my hand, his face as cold as ice, his entire being radiating the aura of a storm brewing. Lu Yuan couldn't help but shiver and pull his shoulders up. Wind picking up. Why is it suddenly so cold? Back home. My brother downed a pot of cold water before he could barely calm down. Fine. Very fine. We've been patient time and again. Yet she keeps pushing her luck. Chinger. Hold nothing back from now on. Since we'll inevitably tear off our masks. Let's rip them off openly. Before. We were in the open while our enemy lurked in the shadows. Now. Let's both drag Jiang Wanru into the open too. See how she dares to strike from the shadows then. Now my brother was a scholar. The top candidate at 15. The focus of everyone's attention. Once he passes the provincial exams, Jiang Wanru's chances will dwindle even further. After embarrassing herself at the magistrate's residence, Jiang Wanru actually kept a low profile for several days. Zhang San's gang of thugs, who were previously dealt with by Lu Yuan and his men, are still bedridden and unable to rise. That Zhang Wenyan also suffered indiscriminate attacks, lying at home and missing the exam. But given his abilities, passing would have been pointless anyway. My brother, however, has completely shed his former simplicity and modesty. He spent all the silver reward for topping the exams on clothes, even going out of his way to commission a jade crown. His beauty, usually deliberately restrained, was now strikingly enhanced by the white robes and jade crown. Wherever he went, a crowd of girls followed in his wake. He stopped by Old Lady Wang's steamed bun shop to buy a few buns. Before long, Old Lady Wang's shop was nearly emptied. As Song Yan's sister, I've been receiving countless handkerchiefs, flowers, pastries, and snacks every day I go out lately. Some are slipped to me by shopkeepers, others handed by girls passing by on the street. This day, I'd barely stepped out when someone stopped me. Qing Mei, do you have some misunderstanding about me? I took a step back, glanced at the bustling street, and shouted at the top of my lungs. Jiang Wanru, you're so annoying. I've told you my brother's been studying hard for exams lately, and marriage matters are decided by our parents. Can you stop pestering me? My brother won't like you. The crowd erupted. Jiang Wanru? Which Jiang Wanru? Is it that ugly Jiang from the Jiang family? Good heavens. She's got some nerve. How outrageous. A divine figure like Master Song could never marry such a demoness. Young women and housewives on the street were furious, practically ready to tear Jiang Wanru apart. I chuckled inwardly, but my face showed pure indignation. Brother said someone's been following him lately, and some thugs even tried to kidnap him. Jiang Wanru, did you send them? The maid beside Jiang Wanru flushed crimson. You're slandering my mistress. Stop spreading lies. I huffed, hands on my hips. Don't think harassing my brother to disrupt his studies will make him marry into your Jiang family. Your Jiang family may be powerful, but that doesn't mean you can act with impunity. More and more people gathered around. I flung my handkerchief and bowed to the crowd. From now on, whenever my brother goes out, I kindly ask the villagers to keep an eye on him. Last time he came home from school, he was nearly kidnapped by a gang of thugs. Those thugs said they'd break my brother's hands so he could never take the imperial exams again. Wah! My brother studied for 10 long years. How easy is it for someone from our southern town to become a scholar? These people are truly wicked. Hearing about the broken fingers, Jiang Wanru's whole body trembled. Forgetting she was now the target of everyone's criticism, she yanked the veil off her head. Song Qing, it's you! You're back too. Jiang Wanru had also been reborn. My heart raced, but I kept my composure. Don't try to cozy up to me. I've told you countless times, my brother is solely focused on his studies and has no intention of considering marriage right now. Jiang Wanru, stop pestering me. The incident caused quite a stir. Rumors spread like wildfire. And 3 people can make a tiger. Compounded by Lu Yuan's men fanning the flames. Jiang Wanru soon bore the infamous label of a marriage-forcing villain. The most handsome young man in the southern city. A 15-year-old top scholar. Being pressured into marriage by a demoness. No one could tolerate it. Even the county magistrate heard the rumors and summoned my brother to his residence to offer comfort. He also sent men to give the Jiang family a stern warning. I heard Jiang Wanru was locked up by her father. Ordered not to leave the house for half a year. Half a year. Half a year later would be the time for my brother to take the provincial exams. Having been reborn, Jiang Wanru certainly wouldn't let this matter rest. But neither Jiang Wanru nor any of us could have anticipated that the words I spoke on the street that day would cause such a sensation. Someone delivered 2 large black dogs to our home, claiming they were for guarding the house. Whenever my brother stepped out, before anyone could even approach him, they'd be dragged off by the big dogs. I heard neighbors caught several thieves alone. Now temporarily safe, my brother threw himself into his studies. He just topped the county exams, riding high on his success. But once the buzz died down, his street appearances wouldn't draw such attention anymore. To keep things fresh, he started staying indoors. Lu Yuan said I had developed sufficient physical foundation to begin martial arts training with him. Come. Assume the horse stance. Grab her grandmother. Kick her crotch. I squatted in the horse stance with solemn concentration. Grab her grandmother. Wait, why would you hit someone's grandmother in a fight? The elderly are innocent. Lu Yuan suddenly flushed, lightly smacking his own lips. I suddenly understood too. My face flushing crimson. Lu Yuan gave an awkward chuckle, his wheat-colored skin reflecting a healthy glow in the sunlight. I tilted my head back, squinting at him for a long moment. Lu Yuan, you're 13 this year, right? Have you thought about the future? Lu Yuan instantly dropped his smile. I'm 14. Is that the point? His inexplicable anger left me baffled. Lu Yuan kicked a pebble at his feet. In the future, will you stay in South City? I crouched down to continue my horse stance. My brother will definitely pass the imperial exams. Then my mother and I will move to the capital. Then you won't get married? Lu Yuan blurted out. I laughed as I stood up and patted his head. What do you know about marriage? You little brat. Just focus on teaching me martial arts properly. Lu Yuan was furious. His eyes gleamed like a young wolf as he glared at me menacingly. You're doing 30 rounds of wooden dummy practice today. Life seemed to return to its usual calm. But deep down, I felt uneasy. This tranquility felt like the stillness before a storm. Jiang Wanru must be plotting something big. Yet things unfolded unexpectedly. Jiang Wanru did absolutely nothing. And soon, my brother faced the provincial exams. When he emerged from the exam hall with remarkable ease, I couldn't help but glance around as we walked home. It was strange. Why had Jiang Wanru let my brother take the exam so easily? This time, my brother passed and became a jiren. A jiren held official status. A 16-year-old jiren was far beyond Jiang Wanru's reach. No matter how anxious and worried I felt, Jiang Wanru vanished from our lives as if she'd evaporated from the earth. My brother still ranked first, becoming the Jing Yuan. Our entire family was moving to the capital. On the day we left the city by carriage, I pulled back the curtain and saw a figure trailing far behind us. The silhouette looked like Lu Yuan. He ran alongside the carriage for a while. Gradually, he became a distant black speck and soon vanished from sight. Humph. That brat. My brother snorted coldly and pulled me back into the carriage. Stop looking. It's windy out there. You'll catch a chill. Living in the capital was no easy feat. Housing here was absurdly expensive. A tiny room cost a whopping 5 taels of silver. To make ends meet, my mother and I began embroidering frantically to supplement our income. My brother also scrimped and saved, rarely leaving the house to conserve money. The literati of the capital were notoriously frivolous. especially those from wealthy families. A single visit to a brothel cost enough to cover our family's annual expenses. At first, many were drawn to my brother's exceptional talent and good looks, eager to befriend him. But socializing was costly, we couldn't expect others to foot the bill every time we dined out. Gradually, my brother began to seclude himself. He earned a reputation for being arrogant and conceited. Yet all the rumors and cold stares vanished the day he achieved the Triple Crown. In the imperial hall, the emperor beamed upon seeing my brother. He declared the youth was dashing and peerless in both talent and looks. Not only did he personally appoint him as top scholar, but upon learning of our family's poverty, he bestowed a mansion upon us. He further announced my brother's direct entry into the Hanlon Academy, to serve by his side. On the day of the victory parade, my brother rode a white horse clad in crimson robes, leaving every maiden in the capital spellbound. Countless flowers and silk handkerchiefs rained down from the sky, transforming the streets into a scene more festive than the new year. Husband! Husband! I've finally found you. As I stood amidst the crowd, listening to the girls beside me rave about my brother's beauty, a rough, hoarse voice suddenly cut through the air. Jiang Wanru rushed toward my brother, clutching a child. She wept and laughed simultaneously. My husband! My husband! You truly became the top scholar. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. The clamorous crowd fell instantly silent. Everyone stared in shock at the woman who had burst onto the scene. Speechless for a moment, my brother stared at Jiang Wanru, who held the child. His expression dark and foreboding. His handsome face was covered in frost. The tall girl beside me clutched her chest. Oh my God. I'm dead. Why is it that some people look good when they smile, but look even better when they're angry? Husband, last year you said you were going to the capital for the exams. Why didn't you send a single letter home? How could you be so heartless? If you didn't think of me, didn't you think of our son? Jiang Wanru wept bitterly, her words dripping with blood. Though the crowd was large, the atmosphere was eerily quiet. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. What kind of demon are you? Daring to impersonate Song Yan's wife? A clear yet piercing female voice rang out, like a yellow oriole emerging from the valley. The girl who had been standing beside me moments ago burst through the crowd, panting heavily, followed by a large contingent of guards, previously preoccupied with watching my brother. I only now noticed the girl wore a golden crown and was clad in priceless shoe embroidery. Yet the opulent, exquisite garments and jewelry couldn't overshadow her radiant beauty. Instead, they accentuated her noble bearing and spirited demeanor. Ah! It's Princess Mingzhu. The crowd immediately stirred. The 8th prince was the emperor's own uncle and the only surviving royal prince. It was said the emperor's smooth ascension to the throne owed much to the 8th prince's meticulous support. His contribution was indispensable. The 8th prince had fathered 4 sons in succession, but none of his consorts conceived again. Then, at his 40th year, the 8th prince's consort, past childbearing age, miraculously gave birth to a lovely, snow-white daughter. It was said the 8th prince was so overjoyed he hosted a month-long banquet in the capital, an event still fondly remembered by the city's oldest beggars. Princess Mingzhu stood with hands on her hips, her beautiful eyes blazing with fury. She stepped forward, pulled back the infant's swaddling cloth, glanced at the child, then immediately covered her eyes. Ah! My eyes! Take this hideous thing away at once. Jiang Wanru, intimidated by Princess Mingzhu's fierce demeanor, instinctively took a few steps back. You toad! How dare you claim Song Yan as your husband, a hideous woman paired with a heavenly beauty? I absolutely forbid it. Speak up! Are you here to extort money? Well, you're so ugly. Yet your ambitions are sky high. I haven't even made my move, and you dare to try extortion first. Guards! Drag her out and beat her to death with sticks. Not just Jiang Wanru. Even I was startled. Beat her to death? The auntie beside me gave me a knowing smile. You're from out of town, aren't you? Don't worry, Princess Mingzhu's perfectly fine. Beat to death is just her catchphrase. Brother dismounted and approached Princess Mingzhu, bowing deeply. Thank you for your righteous defense, Princess. Song Yan is profoundly grateful. The once arrogant Princess Mingzhu instantly grew stiff. She seemed unsure where to place her hands or feet. Jiang Wanru gave a bitter smile. Husband, when your family was poor, it was my Jiang family that sponsored your imperial examinations. Now that you've climbed to the heights of power, are you going to burn your bridges? I stayed home caring for our son. My only hope each day being your triumphant return to reunite our family. Husband, do you truly no longer recognize me? Brother laughed in exasperation. Jiang Wanru, you're truly mad. Princess Mingzhu was furious. Stomping her feet, she shouted. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. A toad and a swan can't bear children. How can different species marry? I won't allow it. Jiang Wanru took a step back. Her expression filled with despair yet clinging to a last shred of hope. Yan Lang, you may disown me, but would you disown our son too? Her brother remained impassive, not even glancing at Jiang Wanru. Fine. Since you reject both mother and child, what's the point of us living any longer? Jiang Wanru screamed shrilly, then raised her arms high and hurled the swaddled infant violently toward the ground. The incident unfolded too abruptly for those nearby to react. Her brother reached out to catch the child, but he stood too far away. The swaddled infant was about to hit the ground. Princess Mingzhu lunged forward, her golden crown crashing heavily onto the stone floor. Pearls the size of pigeon eggs rolled out from beneath it, scattering everywhere. Seeing the princess fall, the guard captain by her side paled. A crowd rushed forward, some even pressing blades against Jiang Wanru's throat. Princess Mingzhu, clutching the infant, grimaced as she rose. Blood seeped faintly through the moon-white fabric at her knees. You venomous woman. He may be an ugly thing, but he's still a child. Even a tiger wouldn't devour its own cubs. The crowd erupted in shock. Good heavens! That ugly woman actually tried to kill her own child. How horrifying! Could Song Zhuangyuan really be her husband? Who would fake an accident by throwing their own child to death? I'd say she's telling the truth. Who'd have thought the divine-looking Song Zhuangyuan would be such a heartless bastard? Exactly! When she threw the child, Song Zhuangyuan tried to catch him. Must be his own flesh and blood. My head throbbed with rage, and darkness clouded my vision. 10 years of grueling study, toiling from dawn till dusk. In summer's stifling heat, our poor family couldn't afford ice. My brother often broke out in heat rashes. In winter's biting cold, frostbite gnawed at his hands year after year. Yet he never complained. Day after day, he burned the midnight oil studying and practicing calligraphy. From his first lessons at age 4 to becoming the top scholar at 17, it was 14 long years of relentless perseverance. Today should have been the happiest day of his life. Parading through the streets on horseback, bringing honor to our family, the focus of everyone's attention. And Jiang Wanru chose this very day to falsely accuse my brother. How dare she? How dare she? Jiang Wanru, I'll fight you to the death. I forced my way through the crowd, grabbed Jiang Wanru, and beat her senseless. Princess Mingzhu was startled, but quickly recovered, handing the child in her arms to a nearby guard. She even waved her hand, signaling the guard to keep his distance from me. You vile woman. Back when my brother was just a scholar candidate, you tried to break his hands so he couldn't take the imperial exams. Time and again you obstructed his studies. trying to trap him in this tiny southern city, hoping he'd marry you out of desperation. Do you have any idea what my brother sacrificed to get where he is today? You claim to adore him, but you never truly loved him, you only wanted to destroy him. Who in Nanjing doesn't know you're obsessed with my brother? You've spent your life clipping his wings to keep him trapped. Now that he's finally passed the exams, you dare show up with some mysterious child to make false accusations. My brother never gave you a second glance. When did he marry you? When did he father a child with you? As I spoke, I grabbed Jiang Wanru's hair and began slapping her face relentlessly. All those years of martial arts training hadn't been wasted. Jiang Wanru was soon beaten to a pulp, her nose bleeding, tears streaming down her face, making her ugly features look especially hideous. This girl is as beautiful as the goddess of mercy, yet she hits like a beast. So this girl is the younger sister of the top scholar. Song? No wonder. No wonder, both share the same exquisite looks. Princess Mingzhu watched me with gleaming eyes, even clapping from the sidelines. Well done. Your skills are as splendid as your looks. The street erupted into chaos. Officers from the 5th Division and the Prefectural Magistrate's office rushed over upon hearing the commotion, taking our entire group away. Jiang Wanru had indeed come prepared. Before my brother and I even entered the capital, she had hired numerous people to open shops here. The proprietor of Wang's Pastries on East Street, the owner of Zhang's Braised Delicacies on West Street, and the enchantingly beautiful proprietress of Treasure Pavilion, all natives of the southern city. They unanimously insisted my brother and Jiang Wanru had long been married. They added that everyone in the southern city knew this, given my brother's striking good looks and Jiang Wanru's plain features. They said our family was poor, while the Jiang family was immensely wealthy. To afford his education, my brother had reluctantly accepted the Jiang family's marriage proposal. My brother and I rarely left our lodgings in the capital, so we knew far fewer people than those shopkeepers. Seeing all the shop owners say the same thing, the onlookers began to waver. Shopkeeper Wang was the most honest man. Last time I bought pastries, I left my money pouch in his shop, and he didn't shortchange me a single copper coin. Right. Right. Shopkeeper Zheng was also an honest man, never shortchanging anyone. Compared to my brother and me, those shopkeepers who dealt with people daily clearly enjoyed more trust from the common folk. The prefect of Jingzhou sat in his chair, his expression grim. He sent 2 constables to my home, where they discovered a pile of letters. All were family correspondence between my brother and Jiang Wanru. The southern city lies far from the capital. Our journey took a full 3 months. Jiang Wanru has truly orchestrated a grand scheme. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. My sense of justice won't allow such a thing. Lord Zhang. This must be a case of injustice. The top scholar song must be framed. Princess Mingzhu slammed the table and rose to her feet. The prefect of Jingzhou could only hastily offer a conciliatory smile. Please calm your anger, princess. This official would never wrongfully accuse the top scholar song. Jiang Wanru clenched her teeth. Your Honor. Song Yan has a black mole on the lower part of his left shoulder blade. My brother and I both looked bewildered. The constables took my brother to the back courtyard for examination. When they returned, the prefect's expression had changed. Master Song, do you have any other evidence? My brother shot Jiang Wanru a look of utter disgust. Your Honor, this official has never touched a single hair on that woman. Jiang Wanru was led away for a physical examination. The renowned midwife of the capital emerged and declared that Jiang Wanru was indeed a woman who had given birth. The case now seemed sealed. Whispers began to stir among the crowd. Terms like beastly heart, unworthy of his position, and a modern-day chinshimi flooded my ears. Princess Mingzhu abruptly stood. Song Yan, dare you swear to heaven? Her brother nodded solemnly. Why would I hesitate? Very well. Traveling by carriage from the capital to the southern city takes 2 or 3 months. But by the canal, A round trip takes only 1 month. This princess will personally go to the southern city to investigate. Rest assured. No one shall falsely accuse you. I shall return to the palace immediately to report to His Majesty. Then depart the capital bearing imperial orders. If you are indeed wronged, every witness here commits the crime of deceiving the sovereign, all shall face execution of 9 clans. Instantly, every face in the room paled. The Zhang family shopkeeper collapsed to the ground, his expression horrified and his face deathly pale. Execution. Execution of 9 clans? The prefect narrowed his eyes. The crime of deceiving the emperor naturally warrants the execution of 9 generations. With Princess Mingzhu vouching for you, His Majesty will surely grant this favor to Zhuang Yuansong. Zhuang Yuansong, you will have to endure the temporary inconvenience of staying indoors for a while. The princess, accompanied by troops and traveling by official vessel to the southern city, would naturally move swiftly, perhaps less than a month. Several shopkeepers knelt in unison. Your Honor. We were forced into this. Jiang Wanru kidnapped my family to blackmail me. Everyone in the southern city knows she's a toad trying to eat swan meat. Master Song's examination funds came entirely from his mother and sister's embroidery work, not a single penny from the Jiang family. Yes. Yes. Our local thug Zhang San even confessed earlier, Jiang Wanru's maid personally paid them to break the top scholar's hands. The situation shifted like shifting clouds. Jiang Wanru, who had been kneeling, suddenly sprang to her feet and turned to her brother. Yan Lang, you truly never felt anything for me? Her brother sneered coldly. Feel affection for you? Why should I feel affection for you? Should I admire your face? Ugly as sin. And your heart? Venomous as a scorpion? Or should I admire how you pushed my own sister into the water and hired thugs to break my fingers? Jiang Wanru. Just uttering your name makes me sick to my stomach. Jiang Wanru suddenly turned to me. Song Qing. It was you. Wasn't it? You ruined my plan. Everything should have stayed the same as before. Yan Lang should have been mine alone, mine and mine alone. She lunged at me, screaming, but I kicked her hard, sending her crashing to the ground. This farce finally came to an end. Had it not been for Mingzhu Junzi stepping in to turn the tide, insisting on upholding justice for us, who knows how much worse this would have gotten. Everyone Jiang Wanru brought with her was thrown into prison. She refused food and water, enduring torture without uttering a single word. But those around her couldn't withstand the suffering. One by one, they spilled everything like beans spilling from a bamboo tube. Those letters? Jiang Wanru forged them herself. She could imitate my brother's handwriting with 90% accuracy. This intensely deranged and obsessive woman became the talk of the capital overnight. Upon hearing of the affair, the emperor personally ordered Jiang Wanru brought to the palace. It was said that upon seeing her face, he flew into a rage, smashing several cups in succession and vowing to wipe out every last ugly member of the Jiang clan. Only the 8th prince managed to calm the emperor. But when the wall falls, everyone pushes. The Jiang family had long incurred the public's wrath in the southern city. Upon learning the Jiang family had angered the emperor, the county magistrate swiftly gathered evidence of their crimes, oppressing men and bullying women. Soon, their property was confiscated, and the able-bodied males were exiled. Jiang Bancheng, once so arrogant he seemed untouchable, vanished from South City overnight. Jiang Wanru, convicted of treason for insulting the emperor, was sentenced to immediate execution by beheading. On the day of her execution, I went to see Jiang Wanru. She had already gone mad. One moment she cried out for her lover. The next she muttered to herself, "Things weren't supposed to turn out this way. The old woman is dead. And you, Song Qing, deserve to die too." After Jiang Wanru's death, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. I felt the thick, dark clouds above my head finally dissipate, and my own spirit grew lighter. My brother sent envoys to propose marriage to the eighth prince. But they were immediately beaten out by Princess Mingzhu's brothers. Princess Mingzhu was furious. Wielding a whip, she chased her brothers through the entire capital. The townspeople had quite the spectacle to watch. In the end, the eighth prince reluctantly agreed to the engagement between my brother and the princess. I heard the prince wept all night on the day the bet was sealed. It was my brother who approached the prince, offering to build his mansion adjacent to the prince's estate and to create an opening in the courtyard gate so the princess could visit her family daily. Only then was the prince satisfied, and he began praising my brother to everyone he met. My brother had suffered his whole life. Yet in this lifetime, he found a girl who truly moved and charmed him. I was overjoyed, more so than if I were getting married myself. One day, as I sat embroidering at home, Princess Mingzhu came running over, looking very mysterious. "Ah, Qing, would you like me to arrange a match for you?" I paused my work, looking at her with a mix of amusement and exasperation. Ever since brother and Princess Mingzhu became betrothed, my own value has skyrocketed. Matchmakers practically trample my doorstep. But given my unhappy marriage in my past life, I'm not inclined to consider it just yet. My eldest brother has a valiant general under his command who's just returned to the capital with him. Rumor has it he's only 17, a true young commander with boundless potential. Best of all, he's incredibly handsome, tall and striking. Plus, he's an orphan. You wouldn't have to serve in-laws after marriage. What a perfect match! Princess Mingzhu chattered on, praising that young general to the skies. I smiled and picked up the half-embroidered handkerchief in my hand. Enough. Enough. I'm not thinking about marriage yet. Oh, come on. The weather's so nice, why embroider? Let's go. I'll take you to see that young general. He's truly gorgeous. Princess Mingzhu dragged me out the door. Sunlight streamed down the street, blinding me until I squinted. A figure on horseback approached and halted before me. A youth clad in armor beamed down from the saddle. "Song Qing, I'm back." My mouth fell open in shock. Lu Yuan? Lu Yuan laughed heartily, leaping down from the carriage. He walked over and gave my head a light pat. "Haven't seen you in years. And you've gotten even shorter? Sis. Let go. Ah, Qing. You two know each other. And you didn't tell me. Is this your little sweetheart? Oh my. You kept something this important from me. Hurry up and tell me how you two met." Embarrassed by Princess Mingzhu's teasing, I stomped my foot and ran forward. Princess Mingzhu chased after me, still chattering non-stop. "Oh my. This is the young general I set you up with. Ah, Qing. You two are truly meant for each other. I command you to marry right here and now, stop right there." The end.